All right, everybody. My name's Sam. I'm filling in for David for a couple weeks. My topic, as my introduction to this group, is will oil at $200 a barrel bankrupt your family? And I kind of looked through some stuff, and the answer is probably not. It probably won't bankrupt your family, but
Oh,
it
that's
did.
surprising.
It did lead to an interesting thing. 33% of American families could not pay a $400 surprise expense.
So they could not buy 2 barrels of oil if they needed it in this scenario.
Yeah, like they could have, like they would have to put it on the credit card or some long-term instrument of debt.
Honey,
And
I can't explain, but I need to get greasy fast.
Get me
Real greasy.
Get me 110 gallons of West Texas Intermediate Crude.
Yeah, pretty much. But there was an interesting thing. We did have high gas prices recently in our last president's, Biden's term, 2022, when gas hit $5 a gallon. 67% of Americans said gas prices were causing a financial hardship, up from 52, so that's a 15% increase. And economic confidence sank to the lowest since the 2007-2009 recession. And I don't know about you guys, but that seems a little outrageous to me. Like, I remember the 2007 recession. Like, gas hitting $5 a gallon shouldn't, I feel like, do that, but it's the psychological impact, I think, seeing it at the pumps.
So do you know what price gas would be per gallon if oil is $200 a barrel, roughly?
That's interesting. So there are different estimates. Like, currently, when I looked at some of the U.S. Bureau of Energy and AAA gas prices, at $3 a gallon, half of the cost of the gas comes from the oil. So $1.50 in taxes, $1.50 in price. Well, a lot of the federal and state taxes are like 40 cents or 18 cents. They're like flat taxes. Pay the same amount of tax for that. So it's not like, if gas goes up, the tax doesn't exponentially go up. But at $200 a barrel, it should be around, what I saw was $5.50 to $6.50 based on some factors. So we do have the potential for, if Americans hold true to their principles, we're at $4.10 today. If it goes past $5.50, Americans could feel like the economy is worse than it was in 2007, 2009.
And that would be a huge change because from what I understand, we're in a golden age.
Everybody loves it, dude.
The Dow was above 50,000 this year. I mean,
it was briefly above 50,000. Kind of like a ghost, I think. If you name it or acknowledge it, it disappears.
It's pretty funny. It's like, they had that, and then a month later it goes down. It does lead to some sentiments about, like, what was it? Before the ceasefire was announced, there was that huge trade on oil futures. That was like the biggest ever seen, That's
$1 billion, right?
$1 billion, yep. Someone made a lot of money.
Now, that's odd. Who has access to that information and also $1 billion? I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, who could send a tweet out and change the, a trillion, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of crude oil?
Surely you're not accusing one of our upstanding government officials of using their position to personally enrich themselves.
It wouldn't be possible, I don't think.
Well, it would just have to be Trump, right? Because there's like literally no other billionaires that would have access to like his. I mean, I don't know. He could have sent a text to like Larry Ellison or whatever, I suppose.
Well,
but
the White House
seems unlikely.
The White House did have to send a statement to its own employees about the dangers of insider trading, which I assume meant make it smaller amounts, dumbasses. That's my...
I was picturing it like one of those kits during Prohibition where it's like, here's some yeast and grape juice. Definitely don't combine these two in a jar and leave it in the closet. That would turn it into wine, which would be illegal, and you don't want to do that.
You definitely don't want to turn it into this illegal wine. But some other fun statistics. The average household in America drives 14,500 miles a year. The price of oil rose to $200. It's probably about another $1,000 a year in expenses. So,
okay,
just for gas.
I have a question. If we're driving 14,000 miles in a year, where are we going?
To work and back.
To work and back.
Working back many times.
Yeah. Now, working back many times.
We're not just moving America from here to like the Pacific Ocean somewhere.
No, it's someone's going from Austin to El Paso every day and back, working those gas fields. Yeah. I'm guessing.
A lot of Dunkin' runs.
But another interesting thing, The Fed's inflation target is 2% a year. I mean, they've stuck to that target. That's why things, over the past 4 years have only increased 2% a year.
Perfect.
With the additional cost of oil, that would be about 2 to 3% inflation cost on all other goods. So overall, if we hit $200 in oil, the average family would see about a $3,500 increase in annual expense, which is just in the cost of gas that they would probably buy and everything else going up.
Okay, so the everything going up is sort of the interesting part to me
Mhm.
right now, because like we're such a oil-based economy, like a world economy is all oil, right? Like the food is oil because oil makes our fertilizer. All goods are oil because oil makes our plastic. It's all oil, and food runs the people who make the things. So in some sense, they need to spend enough money on food, that raises the price of other goods.
Yeah, nothing is used where it's made, so everything has to be transported using oil again.
Yep. It's cheaper to make something
Exactly.
in China, ship it across.
So like that's factored into this estimate,
That's
is what you're saying?
so it's $1,000 a year alone, just in the increase in gas. So like commuting costs, family vacation, and it's another $2,500 in additional food cost. Your hospital's going to have to charge more. Your ambulance is going to have to charge more. Whatever oil touches is going to do an increase in cost. So that's around that average. It's going to add about 2 to 3% in inflation over what the Fed is trying to do, which is kind of bad. Like, we already had 5-6% inflation. It kind of means if this year, if you're not getting a 5% raise, you're kind of getting almost a pay cut.
I mean, you're
And
definitely getting a pay cut.
yeah, you're definitely getting a pay cut. I got 2 more very fun facts. One of the largest employers this could impact, and it's the largest employer in the world, if you count contract workers, is Uber. Uber employs 9.4 million workers, mostly in the gig economy. And if
Right.
you double the cost of gas in a lot of these countries, this Uber, the gig economy's kind of worked as like a little bit of a catch-all. Before going on unemployment, a lot of people now, they sign up for Uber and start driving because unemployment's gotten kind of hard. And you might, like Oregon, it took 26 weeks to get checks for unemployment. A lot of families need money today. And if you need the money, this is one of the few ways in America where you can get money that week. Already, there's a lot of people on it. Can like these rideshare apps and, getting a burrito delivered for $30. Can that survive gas costing $6 a gallon?
Yeah, I mean, people are already cutting back on rideshares, apparently. I saw a headline, at least.
Yeah.
Real facts here.
Mm-hmm. Like it used to be, Uber was like $1 a minute of driving. It goes $2 to $3 a minute. All of a sudden, taking the bus is not just, $10 more or like $10 less. It could be substantially less, $20 less, $30 less. So I think we could see an increase in public transportation. BART might get its pre-COVID ridership back.
If they don't kill the whole program.
There's that. And then my last fun fact, and this was tied with the gig economy, is how Americans spend money has shifted. The top 10% of households do 50% of the spending in America. So yeah. And it's just
that's why our social safety net is $30 burritos.
These layoffs keep coming, and the Uber drivers need to deliver. The top 10% is really going to have to step up and order more $30 burritos.
Yeah, dude. We're going to have way more elaborate vacations. Our retirement communities are going to have to get substantially more hungry.
Earth is a playground for like 8 billionaires, and the rest of us are just staffed.
All I'm saying is, if you're a billionaire or a millionaire, try and like get some Uber drones to deliver the food to you, and you get, support your local gig worker economy. Is all I'm saying.
If they're getting delivered by drone, you're not supporting the workers, dude.
Well, somebody's driving the drone, right?
I mean, I think it's AI, right? I don't think someone's manually driving the drone.
If it's AI, then we're all doomed.
But wait,
the gig drivers get replaced.
All of this doom and gloom. Let's take a minute here and reflect on what we've accomplished for the price of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like okay, let's think here. What have we accomplished in this Iran war? It's great, right? We're winning.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going good.
Oh wait, are the higher oil prices related to the Iran war?
Yes.
Okay.
So one of the fun things when I was researching this is, you have the Iran war going on, Strait of Hormuz, narrow little, piece of water that 40% of the world's oil goes through, something like that. So the price of oil has kind of fluctuated a little bit because, the war happened and it got closed. Trump bombed and Israel bombed Lebanon. I don't know why Lebanon's in this discussion, but Lebanon and Iran, they bombed them back. And then Trump just threatened to destroy all civilization in Iran, which was fun. I thought we were past that point. Like the USSR and the USA had their like beef in the 60s when it was like, is the world going to end? Who knows? You know, and they had a ceasefire for like, do you guys recall how many days that was? Like, or how many weeks the ceasefire?
I mean, it depends on how you measure it. So like, so first they announced the ceasefire, and then Israel bombed Lebanon more. And so they were like, okay, there's no ceasefire. And then they were like, okay, the ceasefire is kind of going and we're going to negotiate in Islamabad. And then now they're like, okay, everyone sucks. The other side sucks. We're closing the strait. And then the U.S. is like, no, we're closing the strait even harder.
Just want to like highlight that U.S. agreed to a ceasefire because they wanted to open the Strait of Hormuz, right? Like Iran can send drones to blow up boats that pass through it so they can effectively keep it closed whenever they want. U.S. doesn't like that. They threatened to destroy Iran, presumably with nuclear hellfire. I don't know, wasn't elaborated. It was just a truth social. And then, Pakistan got them to negotiate, send our best and brightest, J.D. Vance and I think Jared Kushner to work it out.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Kushner did go to the Middle East and get billions of dollars for somebody. I don't know who, but he did get a large amount of money from Saudi Arabia to go into his investment fund. So he's very good at that. Yeah. And if I went to Saudi Arabia, I don't think I could negotiate that good of a deal.
Did you try marrying the president's daughter?
Well, this one's got a lot of daughters, but no, when I was swiping on Tinder, I didn't see him.
Yeah, I think though, I don't know, like the only unmarried heir of Trump is Barron.
At least he's tall. There you go, Sam. Start courting.
There we go. Yeah, well, I think the Trump family has like some issues. You know, they're a fan of the whole divorce, get a new spouse. So all I have to do is probably wait 5 years and one will become available.
I would say you're younger and handsomer than Jared Kushner.
Oh, thank you. Definitely younger. But yeah.
Anyways, but okay. Anyways, so they went to the negotiations, and then it didn't work out so great, and now we're blocking the strait.
Yes, I saw that today. One of the effective immediately things is we're not going to let Iran charge tolls, and the way we're going to do that is just not let anyone through, like what Iran was doing. I assume at some point we will start like asking the Europeans to pay tolls, our allies, give them the privilege of paying for their ships to get through. But yeah, it's been kind of nutty, the whole Iran war. Like it seems like on the oil side that we'd really like things to go back the way they were before the war, with the straits open and everything flowing through. And I think one of those things is the price of gas at the pump, because it's like that for a lot of Americans. It's another war in the Middle East. It doesn't affect them. And then you see that like photo from that famous gas station in LA that will say like $8 a gallon. And it's like, wow, you got to pay that every time you go to work.
Yep.
So
have we hit like the highs of the Biden era gas price wise?
Biden era hit $5, and that was Russia, Ukraine. And so that was something we weren't really responsible for. It was another two countries beefing to that. What's interesting is this is like Trump's completely responsible for this. He's the guy in his administration. There's no, we got to talk to Putin or someone else to stop this, or we got to get the European Union to do something. This is an us thing, and as near as I can tell, it's not ending anytime soon, because
yeah, in a way, that's a good thing. It's our thing that we started. We have total responsibility, which means I guess it would be easier for us to fix, right? Because like we're the ones causing the problem. So if we just stop that, but then,
there's the problem.
There's like all the Iranians we killed. They're probably mad about that.
Well, they're
yeah. So it probably doesn't go back to normal, I guess.
Iran's current supreme leader, like I think his dad was killed by the U.S. He has like 4 or 5 direct family members killed by the U.S. or Israel. I can imagine that if you're the supreme leader of a country, after your country's already been bombed and threatened to be wiped off the face of the earth, that you're not going to be happy to come to the negotiating table because gas prices are too high for the American consumer.
Also, weren't we literally in the middle of negotiating with them when the war started? Like, why would you ever trust the U.S. in the first place, dude?
When Obama reached his agreement with Iran, that was their nuclear treaty. That was 2.5 years of negotiation when a war wasn't going on. But it was just people talking to people. Now, it may very well be the guy we're talking to gets killed in a bomb and we have to start negotiating with his replacement.
If only there was a way to prevent it, but alas, bombs are just flying around out of human control. No one can stop them.
Well,
stop these bombs falling out of the sky.
We can stop our end, but we also have our trusty buddy Israel in the fight here. So it's like we can agree to a ceasefire, but they've got other plans.
Yeah, for some reason, Lebanon, they're just going to keep bombing it. I do have one cool factoid about Iran. So Iran's soccer team qualified for the World Cup in America. That's happening in like a month or two.
No.
So the Iranian, I don't know if the Iranian team's going to get to play because obviously, some of them, if they'll be let into the country or they may be dead, who knows? They don't really I don't think they get to practice anymore. But FIFA is also having a pride game. And so the game between Iran and Egypt in the World Cup is going to be FIFA's pride game. Two countries apparently it was randomly picked. So
awesome.
So some good news in that. I'm sure it's going to be a very fun adage to
I really
a very
hope
calm
they play.
game. I do too.
What do you think the betting odds on this one are? Since everything's gambling now, what do you think? What percent?
Well, see, I'd really like
Sub 10, surely.
I'd really like to be working in the administration and know what the answer is before I bet.
Do you think we'll get so we're at what, like $4.10 a gallon right now?
We're at $4.10.
Right? Okay.
And so I think we could hit 150, 170 because if you think, or like not per gallon but per barrel of oil, 200 I think would be tricky, especially in the U.S. because we produce so much oil on our own. Like there are, if it looks like the Strait of Hormuz is going to be closed down for multiple years, but what I think could cause a spike to, like, I think we have a potential for like a flash spike in prices because it's like, okay, you have problems here. What happens if you have problems in somewhere else at the same time? And now systems that need petroleum products aren't able to get it becomes like a crisis. And so I think we could see a period where like for a few days, you might see $200 barrel of oil or even higher, but I don't think it would get up there. I think before it got to $200, like President Trump would not be president anymore because, with Biden's term, it was like $5 was what people thought was like the worst. They made movies about that recession, They had Scarlett Johansson in them and some other actors I don't remember. But like it hit $6 a gallon. You're in a lot of most states that like voted for Trump don't have good public transportation, don't have bike paths or walkability. Those are states where it's like if you want to go anywhere, you want to go to the grocery store, you want to go to the restaurant, you got to go to work, you got to drive. And I think if you see stuff hit $6 a gallon, that it's his voters that are going to be hurt, and it's their pocketbooks that are going to be hurt the most in this. Because it's like in Portland, all right, your 10-minute commute turned into a 30-minute bike ride. If you're in like Bayou Lafourche, Louisiana, there's no bike path and there's alligators on the shoulder. So what are you going to do? Yeah, I don't think we'll hit 200, but if we do, I can't see Trump surviving that. That's a tough one.
Just physically.
Physically,
I think it's hard to give out.
Yeah, like finally he would realize that he's not popular.
Yeah.
He'd go to the rally and it was empty.
It's like one of the things he cares about, like the price of gas. Like,
yeah. It's
even in his dementia-riddled brain, it's just one number. You can keep track of it. If it goes up, that's bad. If it goes down, that's good.
And if you struggle to keep anything more complicated than one number in your head at any time, use that powerful intellect of yours to leave us a comment. Write a review on Apple Podcasts, why don't you? Be the first, be a pioneer. Let us know what you think of the show, and we'll catch you tomorrow on another price gouging episode of Info Hazard.